watching Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes. This is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent.
Tony, welcome to Gov.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on?
What?
Alright, you go in, Tony. Good.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead Radio Show. They're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey Tony, you're not funny and you probably shit yourself a lot and you're no fun to be with and you don't make that much money and you're not going anywhere in show business and I hope you get hit by a bus.
career, I've met a lot of different people. This one right here used to headline Chuckles and Eastside and all these clubs. If you remember Claudia Sherman, Google her, used to come out with a wedding dress and talk about how her wedding went all awry and this and that. She is here, when a comedian comes to see another comedian, that is the biggest honor a comedian can get. And I'm honored that you're here tonight. I love Claudia. Claudia Sherman, back in the day, was a great stand-up comic. We used to do all the clubs around the tri-state area. Long Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, all the clubs. Governors in Levittown. It's going to be a phenomenal night at Governors in Levittown.
Hi, I'm Claudia. I'm with the Down Now.
It's called the Down and Out, and she's doing a show in the Giggle Room. When are you doing that? October 5th. Governors in Levittown. Go to govs.com for your tickets.
With the Down Out.
A lot of great comedians, a lot of laughter, good food. Governors in Levittown, get your tickets now. Govs.com.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Knockem Dead Comedy Show. We are coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, New York. The Knockem Dead Comedy Show live on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast, the Facebook page, the YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook, we appreciate you watching. Please follow the Gov's Comedy Club. Please follow the Gov's Comedy Club Podcast Facebook page. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. And please subscribe to the Gov's Comedy Club podcast YouTube channel, and hit the thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook and you want to participate in our conversations today, you want to hear your name said, you want to hear your comments read, you want to just join in, well, please jump over to the YouTube feed because that is where we monitor the comments. If you don't mind, we'd appreciate that. So thanks for joining us today. Just like John Rusiello did, he said, "Good morning, pal." Good morning, sir. Vicky Remical Grimm, happy Friday. Well, happy Friday to you, lovey. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's doing okay. Thanks for joining us today. Did I say we're from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club? I believe I did. Speaking of legendary Governor's Comedy Club, don't forget, tonight's the big night. Knockem Dead Comedy performing at the Brokerage in Belmore. Tickets are still available because we did not sell well, but you will have a great time, I promise. And I think we're still going to get a decent crowd in there today. So the Brokerage in Belmore, it's one of Governor's comedy clubs. Come on down for a hilarious audience interactive murder mystery show with Knockem Dead Comedy. Okay, and I'll be promoting that throughout the show today. All right, let's get down to business. I'm going to do this first and get through it. And, of course, I dropped it. There it is. There he is, right there. Andy Plajanos, ladies and gentlemen. This is Andy Plajanos. Andy has been a big part of the Knockem Dead Comedy Show for several years. The show has been on almost 7 years. And we met when we first started the show, it was myself, it was Sally O'Neill, and Eric Shevlin. The three of us were the hosts. When we came in here, I've been a fan of stand-up comedy for a long time, but I wouldn't say I didn't really know the names of a lot of comedians. I was good with faces, but I'm not, I'm bad with names. I'm not Don Sill, who knows everybody's name and is a stand-up comedy encyclopedia. I am not. I'm a music encyclopedia. But good morning, Carol. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. What is that? Yeah, that's a sad face. That's what I thought it was. So we started. Eric and Sally knew even less than I did, and especially on the local scene, we didn't know most of the comedians. So we came in here, and we would just come in here sometimes at night and get to know some of the people. We got to know some of the guys that were doing shows in the studio. Eventually, we were given the job of running the studio. And Andy was one of the local comedians that we met. He came in here to do one of the other shows, and we kind of hit it off. And he quickly became a regular on this show. He would come in often, and then even when Eric was kind of, and it was a weird time with Eric for a while. He was, he wasn't happy with, the way things were being run in here, and he wasn't happy doing the show every day anymore. And I don't know, it was weird. Like and then Sally and I wanted, we wanted one day off during the week because we were working hard in here every day. So it was weird. So he would come in basically whenever Eric would come in basically whenever he felt like it. But then he started doing Wednesdays when Sally and I were off. He would come in here. And I know Andy would join him a lot. And actually, I take that back. It was during COVID when we were all doing our shows from home, where Eric would utilize Andy a lot on Zoom, and then when we came back after the quarantine, after COVID, even then Sally, she wanted another day off, so that was when I asked Andy to come in here on Fridays and be with me every Friday. We were here with him. I believe we were the first show he came on after he had his heart attack, and he told us all about it, and that was pretty scary. But anyway, yeah. So then, in time, so we were on for 2 years, and then Eric left after 2 years, and then it was another. Yeah, it was about another 2 or 3 years, and then obviously Sally's not doing the show anymore. So, Andy was with me on Fridays for probably like 4 years, I believe. A long time. So, and it turns out, I know some of you saw it last night on Facebook. Andy posted he's not going to be doing the show with us anymore. Not really going to get into why, but I am going to tell you that me and Andy are fine. It wasn't something between me and him. It wasn't that way with anybody. I mentioned Eric and Sally because I appreciate everybody that's been a part of the show, whether it's a guest, people that come in regularly, the hosts. Eric and Sally were the original hosts with me. Eric moved on, and actually he's in the process of moving. He's pretty much spending most of his time in South Carolina now. Me and Sally, we broke up. But I'm still on good terms with everybody. Sally and I are still friends, and if you watch the video I shared with you earlier this week, I see her during the fall festival at White Post Farms, and I still see her, maybe a handful of times a year outside of the White Post Farms. We get along great. We're still close, and that's the case with Andy too. Nothing happened between the two of us. We're fine. We're great. And I'll always be appreciative of his time, and we had a lot of great times in here. So he will be missed. And again, I thank you, Andy, for your time. Thank you for the laughs. And we used to we would on Fridays we'd get in here. Well, I'm always here early. I get here usually around 9:30 every morning to do a bunch of things. And Andy used to come in early, probably around 10 o'clock. And we would just talk about stuff that we couldn't talk about on the air, and that was probably, honestly, for me, I don't know about him, but for me, I think that was my favorite part, was just being able to catch up with him and talk about our week and talk about things going on here at the club and within the comedy world. And so Andy's going to be missed. He was a big part of the show, and we thank him, and we wish him the best. We hope we really hope he kicks ass, in the Long Island comedy scene. He's a good guy, and he's a fun guy, and most of the time he'll make you laugh with his comedy. Carol, what is Laura going to do without him? How are you going to weed through the warranty calls? Plagianos, can we talk about Blue Beetle? Such a smart, funny guy. Yeah, that's what he became known as, right? The smart comedian, a guy who knew all the trivia answers. Yeah, definitely won't be the same without him. Although I still think he Googled half that shit. But yeah, and I noticed, Carol, you said how are you going to weed through the warranty calls? Like I'm sure you chose those words on purpose because he was high most of the time he was in here. I don't know if that's true or not, but he claimed to be. And it's funny you mentioned Laura because Laura, the timing was kind of weird, but she called me last night right after Andy posted that he wasn't going to be a part of the show anymore, and she called me, and she's coming in here October 18th. She'll be forced to talk to me. So we'll see how that goes. Now, just joking. Laura's been in here with just me before, and she's actually a close friend. We talk a lot, and when we do talk, we talk for a long time. I like Laura. I like Laura a lot, and she's a fantastic comedian. So Friday, October 18th, she'll be coming in here. Maybe I'll just prop this up here, and she can talk to that. So all right. So there you go. So that's the story. We wish him well, and who knows? Maybe somewhere down the road, he'll come in, and maybe we'll have him in once in a while as a guest. And he's still part of the family, without a doubt, still part of the family. So there you go. So that's that. And speaking of Governor's Comedy Club, I mentioned the murder mystery tonight at the brokerage. Tomorrow night, we were supposed to do the game show in the Giggle Room. So, yeah, it's not a good week for Knockem Dead. We didn't we normally, when we play the brokerage, we usually get like 3/4 full, if not more. All right, I'm gonna read this out loud, and I hope you don't get mad, Andy. But Andy just wrote to me privately, and he said I won't be a distraction. He thanked me, and then he said he won't be a distraction in the chat. Andy, you're not a distraction in the chat. So, it's I'm not telling you what to do, and but you're more than welcome in the chat. You're by all means. So we were supposed. So yeah, not a good week for Knockem Dead. We usually get a good crowd in the brokerage. We didn't really sell a lot for tonight at the brokerage. I still think we're going to get a decent sized crowd. I think we might get like half the place. But so and we'll still have a great time. If you're coming, we're still going to have a great time. But for the game show tomorrow, we barely sold anything, so we canceled that, which kind of sucks. I was really looking forward to that. I know here at Governor's, they were excited. They decided to do that. They were excited to do that. They wanted to see how that would go. So, so kind of disappointed, but that's canceled, which I'm kind of sad about. It was the first time we were trying, a game show night here. And, we were going to give out prizes and stuff, but, didn't pan out, which sucks. I will try it again. Maybe I'll see. Maybe February or March I'll give it another try. Maybe calling it Triple X Trivia wasn't the way to go. I don't know if that turned people off. Maybe I'll just do a regular trivia night and just mix in some naughty questions here and there. So, I don't know. We'll see. So that was canceled. But, it did work out for me. We canceled, and then I ended up getting a phone call from Joey Petroni. He's DJing a wedding tomorrow night, and he asked me to come MC it. So that's something I've only done maybe 2 or 3 times. So looking forward to that. That'll be fun. At least I got some kind of work tomorrow. Going to be a crazy weekend for me. Murder mystery tonight. White Post Farms walking around on my feet for 9 hours, then going straight to Oyster Bay to do a wedding with Joey Petroni until 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Then back at White Post Sunday for another 9 hours of walking around and annoying people. I'm going to be tired. I am going to be tired. So, I'm hustling, grinding. And speaking of co-hosts, I appreciate the feedback. Had a lot of good response yesterday from Jeff Skelsey when he was in here yesterday. I've tried before, and I'm trying again to get Jeff to maybe jump in as a co-host one day during the week. But as you heard yesterday, he's just getting through a leukemia battle. And, if you know anything about leukemia, it doesn't really ever really leave your body. So he's still working his way back, and he's trying to get back into the swing of things. So he'll be in regularly. I don't know if he'll actually be able to be a set co-host. Plus at some point when he's, when he gets cleared, he'll have to go back to work too. So, but we'll see, and we'll get him. We'll get him in here. He again another part of our family. So so definitely a weird week. So as you guys, as I've been telling you all week, we if you watch the show regularly, which most of you guys do. All right, Andy, I'll get back to you. I didn't see some of your messages there. Andy's messaging me privately, and I missed some of it, so because I'm doing the show. So shut up. I'll get back to you after the show. Yeah. So if you guys, for those of you who watch regularly, you know that we've been having technical issues. We've been having them pretty much since we've been in this room, but starting in May, it really started to get bad. And we had a good run for a while where things were working okay. But then in May, things, like daily, just one thing after another was just falling apart, and it was getting worse and worse. And we knew that day would come because we were working with a very old computer. I think it was like 11, 12, 13 years old, which, especially in the Mac world, that's prehistoric. So the computer was old, and you couldn't install new programs in it because it wouldn't read some of the the software. So we were using old programs, and things were just aging out basically, and we couldn't update the computer because that would mess up some of the programs, and we couldn't update the programs because the computer couldn't handle it. So we kind of stuck. And so we ended up, governors gave us the okay to, that they would get us a new computer. So we got that computer about a week or two ago. And then just yesterday on the show, I thanked Mike O'Toole. He came in, he hooked the computer up. He hooked all this equipment up, the soundboard, the computer. And this is basically, this room, when we were doing video podcasts, but it is set up almost like a radio station. Like this soundboard is for radio, and there's all sorts of contraptions and stuff. And you guys were complaining a few weeks ago about the buzzing that was going on here. If you noticed that, that's gone. So we have a new computer, we have updated programs, and so far so good. Things are working beautifully. Even the picture seems a little clearer, which is nice. The only thing I haven't done yet, so who knows what will happen when the time comes, is Zoom. I haven't Zoomed with anybody yet. So I'm thinking maybe Monday or something. If anybody wants to Zoom with me, I'll send you guys the link, and you can Zoom in. And I'll use you guys as guinea pigs. Yeah, maybe I'll do that Monday. Maybe I'll just post the Zoom link, and anybody who feels like joining us can join in. That might be fun. All right, so anyway, so maybe we'll do that. So I felt bad, though, because, so we're ironing out the kinks. I'm trying to make sure everything is working right. And last night, I was engineering Nick Graystone's show, Primal Scream with Nick Graystone. He had Mark David Hirschman from Hershey and the Keegs in as a guest. And we start the show, and I didn't even know. We did 15 minutes, and there was no sound. I felt, and it was totally my fault. There was just a button I forgot to hit. It was really that simple. Because, with the new computer and updated programs thing, it's still the same program, and it's still pretty much the same things, but there are some changes, some updates. So there's a new thing that I have to do that I'm not in the habit of doing. So I didn't think to hit the button to turn the sound on. So I felt bad. I felt really bad. I still feel bad. But I said to him, okay, just start talking all over again, and we'll do an hour from here, and we'll get everything in. And he did. He basically just, said everything he said when you couldn't hear him. And it turned out to be fine, and they had a great show. But I felt terrible. And so my apologies to Nick Greystone. And hopefully things will continue to be smooth so that we can bring you good shows and, as professionally as possible and just have a good time with you guys. I love being in here. I love doing the shows with you. I think we have great shows in here, and I just want to keep doing it. And maybe one of these days we'll make some money doing it. Maybe. All right. I think that's all as far as announcements and stuff. So now we can get down to just doing the show. Hope everybody's well. It's Friday. Hope you have fun plans for the weekend. You guys down south, like John and I don't know, Carol. You didn't see the Hurricane Helene, right? It didn't go to your area, right? And thankfully, when John called yesterday, he said he was nowhere near it, I was happy to hear. At least 5 people have been reported killed overnight, and Atlanta, Georgia was under a flood emergency warning. The gigantic tempest swirled on as a tropical storm with winds up to 70 miles an hour and torrential rain posing dangers across a wide area. Hurricane Helene hit the Big Bend area of Florida, close to the state capital of Tallahassee. The first recorded Category 4 to make landfall in that area. Wow. 140-mile-an-hour winds and catastrophic storm surges. That's insane. 140 miles an hour. Did you guys see some video? I saw some video. It looked insane, man. I think that reason alone would keep me here in New York. John, I'm sorry. You yesterday when you called in, you compared it to traffic. Gee, I wonder if I'll sit in traffic and it's, might set me back an hour, or I'll sit in a hurricane that might kill me. Really, not much of a comparison there, John. Andrew Fremder, better to purchase a computer from George Jetson than Fred Flintstone. Right. Let's go with that. Yeah, so there you go. Let's see. All right, talked about Andy. Okay. Just going over my stuff to see what there is to talk about today. Carol Miner. Oh, Fremder. My cousin lives in Florida. He told me last night he saw the cow from The Wizard of Oz. Carol. No, upper west coast of Florida. Lots of friends and family in that area, but all are okay. Made sure Billy and Lucia are okay in North Carolina, but they are in NOLA, so all good. Is NOLA the name of the town? I've never heard that word before, NOLA. Or does that mean North Carolina? I have no idea. But yeah, glad you checked on Billy and Lucia. I appreciate you letting me know. I did think about them last night, but the good friend that I am, I didn't reach out to anybody. So thanks for that update. Billy and Lucia I've known Billy and Lucia for a long time. Grew up with them, but Billy especially was a childhood friend. Known him, I don't remember not knowing him. So, Carol, he's a guy that should be in here. That would be a lot of fun. All right. Hoda Kotb. No, I'm not speaking backwards. Hoda Kotb. She's on the Today Show, co-host of the Today Show. She announced yesterday that she will be stepping down from the Today Show after 6 years as the co-anchor of the network's flagship morning show. Hoda Kotb said she made the decision after turning 60 last month. I realized it was time for me to turn the page at 60 and try something new, she said, fighting back tears. Now, you might be saying to yourself, who cares? And why would you even report that? I am reporting that because I don't remember what year it was. But I don't know, one of these years at the White Post Farms Fall Festival, Hoda Kotb showed up. She was there with, I think she has 2 kids. And I don't know if she was there with 2. She was definitely there with 1. I don't remember now if she was there with both kids or not. But she stayed quite a while. She was there walking around with whoever for quite a while. Talked to her quickly, and she was very nice, very sweet. She was a lot more reserved than she is on TV, and I don't mean that in a negative way. She was very nice. Spent a long time there, and I'm there doing my announcements and doing my thing. And she came, as she was leaving, she came up to me. She says, I've been, walking around all day here. She goes, and I'm hearing you all day. She goes, I have to tell you, she goes, I think you're very funny. I was like, oh, well, that was very nice, Hoda Kotb. Thank you very much for saying that. Yeah. Hoda Kotb came over and told me how funny I was. So I thought that was very nice. So that's why I was reporting that. I feel like she's my pal. So so she's moving on from the Today Show. Does it say when? She was stepped down. No, it doesn't say when her last day is. But, yeah, she's stepping down from the Today Show. And we wish her well. 60 is still young, so she's got plenty of time. Hey, Andy, maybe you and her can do a show together. Carol's in New Orleans. Oh, Billy and Lucia are. Oh, they're in New Orleans. What, they're vacationing or something? Fremder, they're having a category F5 titty twister. Oh, well, nothing wrong with a good titty twister. Yeah, there's Tim Thompson. Is Hoda replacing Andy? Oh, maybe I should do that. There I was offering her to Andy, telling them to do a show, and I should just bring her in here. Yeah, screw Andy. Let's bring Hoda in here. I can't even say Hoda. I need to say Hoda Kotb every time. It's like saying Charlie Brown. You can't just say Brown or Charlie. Hoda Kotb. Although I could just say Hoda, and you would know what I'm talking about because nobody else has that name. I've never even heard of that name. And then the last name, Kotb. Kotb. So actually it should be Kotb. 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 Sounds like I'm sneezing. Kotb. Kotb. The Copa. At the Copa. Copa. No. Okay. Good morning, Mickey. How are you, pal? Hope you're well. Maybe I should do that. Should I write Hoda? Should I find her on Instagram or something? Hey, hello, Miss Kotb. I'm the guy from White Post Farms that you said was funny. I have a podcast. Would you like to come do that with me? I would bring in a lot of exposure, I'll tell you that. Wasn't she in Star Wars, says Fremder. And it's pronounced Kotb. That's what I said, Kotb. Or you're saying C-O-T-B. Kotb. That's what I said. Hoda Kotb. Isn't that what I was saying? Have Diane replace Andy, says Mickey. Hey, believe me, if I can get Diane in here every day, I would. I don't think that's possible because she, has a job. But I do think Frank and I don't have a musical guest for next week. We're working on all the musical guests. We have pretty much the next 2 or 3 months set, except for next week. And I think we're going to try and get Diane in here on for Tuesday and Thursday next week. I'm telling you guys that now. Meanwhile, I haven't even asked her yet. She did. If Frank was going to make it in here yesterday, Diane offered to come back. But Frank, he's been a little under the weather, so he's got a cold. So he chose not to come in this week. So that's when I just had Jeff come hang. But I'm going to try and get Diane for Tuesday and Thursday next week, and she'll jam with Frank. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to reach out to Hoda Kotb and just say, hey, how'd you like to do it? Get her in as a guest. We'll have a good time. We'll snuggle. And then I'll say, hey, if you had such a great time, you should come in every day. Can you imagine? That would be really freaky. So what you're saying is you're looking for a new co-host for Friday. Possibly, Fremder. I don't know if you'd last. We may have to kill you after 2 weeks. No, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm just going to bring in guests. I don't know if I'm going to do co-hosts. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure all that out. It's hard enough to get, it's tough. This show is on during the week, during the day. And it's not like we're paying people. We have no budget in here. We have nothing. So it's not like I have it's very hard to get people in here. And I've been very lucky that I've gotten people in here, let alone I'm especially lucky with the co-hosts. And that's why I'm appreciative of Andy and his time. He should have been working. And even Diane, she changes her work schedule to come in. Mike Kaplan, he works, and Wednesdays is only, I think Wednesdays and Sundays. So he uses his valuable time, his day off, to come in here on Wednesdays. And most of the guests have come in, have rearranged their daytime schedule to come in here and do this show. So it's very much appreciated, and I know how hard it is for people to get in here. So, I'm honestly not sure what I'm going to do. The decision was just made yesterday, that Andy wasn't going to come back. So I haven't really had time to process it myself and figure out what I'm going to do. So, So we'll see. We'll see. And Fremder, you're overdue to come in here as a guest anyway. So, So hopefully soon we'll see your hairy face, and we'll talk about Batman. Did you watch Penguin? Don't give me any spoilers. I haven't watched it yet. I'm hoping this weekend, crazy weekend for me. I have no time for anything, but Sunday night when it's all over, all my shows and all my performances are done for the weekend. Sunday night, if I don't totally collapse, I hope to watch Penguin. But I also want to see the, speaking of superheroes, I'm hoping also Sunday night to watch the Christopher Reeve documentary. Vicky actually told me she watched it and said, she said it was fantastic. And she said it's a tearjerker, which, I think anybody, that's going to sit and watch it probably knows that already, that they should have the tissues ready. Very sad story with Christopher Reeve and his wife. Hello, Ann. Nice to see you. Penguin was fucking amazing, says Fremder. Exact words. All right, good to know. My son watched it, and he said it was good. So he said it reminded him of The Sopranos, actually. Because if you're not familiar with this version of Penguin, it's a mob themed thing. John, forgot the fire hydrant again. It's weird. Every time I forget it, I'm about 3/4 of the way here, and I remember. So that's probably what it is. I'm just about to pass 7-Eleven. So that probably sparks my head. So I'm like, all right, got to pull in, grab some water. Okay. So, so that's that. All right. So we got some, we covered the storm. Glad everybody's okay. Within the first 5 minutes of Penguin, I couldn't believe it, says Fremder. Really? Oh, all right, cool. All right, look, now I'm looking forward to seeing it even more. All right, so all right, a little bit of definitely a Sopranos vibe, he says. All right, cool. And I love that stuff. So the big news today that I saw this morning. 4 years ago, hundreds of victims came forward alleging that Catholic priests, 4 years ago, it's been a lot more than that, Catholic priests on Long Island had sexually abused them. Today, those victims, I think it might have been late yesterday or maybe even this morning. Today, these victims reached a $320.5 million settlement with the Diocese of Rockville Center. Diocese of Rockville Center. That, for those of you not in this area, Rockville Center is a town here on Long Island, and that is basically, it's like the headquarters of the Catholic Church for Long Island, is in this town called Rockville Center. The diocese first filed for bankruptcy Oh. Hold the presses right there. Did you see that in the comments? Carol says the box is at the post office. So that means sometime next week, Carol's delicious chocolate box, creamy and smooth and delicious, will be in my mouth. I need a second. Just hang. John Russo's, he's already leaving? Got to run. Doctor's appointment. Well, put this on your phone as you're driving and just listen. And then get in the doctor's office and tell them all to join in and listen too. What better than The Sopranos and Batman? Yeah, that is a good mix. All right. Thank you, Carol. Carol, I will get some money out to you this coming week, I promise. And don't be afraid to yell at me if I'm slow with getting money to you. So, yeah. So thank you. And in all seriousness, thank you, Carol. And I know the last time I think one of the last times we talked, you did say something about you guys were thinking about a trip up here. And God, I hope that's true because it's been, like a year and a half? That's bad. Well, again, I'm going to set up a Zoom. I think this will be fun. I'm going to set up a Zoom and just post it so anybody can Zoom in on Monday. So, Carol, hopefully you're around and you can join us, even if it's just for a few minutes. Fremder, when the church choir sings, the priest prefers the key of A minor. Right. Okay. So they settled $320.5 million. The diocese filed for bankruptcy back in 2020. And, of course, that claim has been hotly contested for the past 4 years, which, yeah, I would contest that myself. Years ago, when I was with the phone company, I actually did a job in the Diocese of Rockville Center offices and actually in the bishop's living quarters. This guy, if you didn't know where you were, you would think you were like, you would think you were working in like a celebrity's apartment, like in the Dakota, New York City or something. This guy, his apartment was so fancy. I mean, he had 2 ovens. Every shelf in his refrigerator had its own temperature setting. Each shelf. And the reason we were doing work in there is because he expanded his apartment. And how did he expand his apartment, you ask? Well, he made the nuns' living quarters smaller so he can extend his apartment. Yeah, filing bankruptcy. Sure. Meanwhile, the official jury court date for the sex abuse lawsuit scheduled for October 7th loomed even closer. The diocese first filed for bankruptcy, and that claim, I just read that. Oh, I read that already. Today, with less than 2 weeks before that first jury trial, the diocese agreed on the settlement with the victims. So one of the lawyers who represents more than a dozen survivors who filed claims in the bankruptcy believes the diocese finally settled to avoid those upcoming jury trials. Yeah, I'm sure they would not. I mean, they already look bad. The Catholic Church, they covered this up for years. When it finally came to light, they still tried to dispute it. They didn't try to help the victims. I mean, they didn't offer therapy. They didn't offer any kind of solace. They just denied it, and then they filed bankruptcy. It's, to protect their own asses, like true businessmen do. And I'm sure that was just the beginning. I'm sure there would have been a lot more that came out in that trial that would have made them look very bad. I'm sure we would have heard about more cover-ups, how they probably tried to give people hush money. So they, so as the date was getting closer, they were calling people's bluffs for a long time, and finally I'm sure they were saying, "Oh shit, we better get out of this one. The timing of this settlement speaks volumes. Ironically, the diocese filed for bankruptcy in order to avoid jury trials, then spent the last 4 years asserting our client's claims had little or no value. We commend the survivors and Judge Glenn for staying the course, making the deal happen, and sending a strong message that even the most powerful entities can be held accountable. Yeah, see, right there, to call the Catholic Church a powerful entity, I don't know. I guess you could take that a few different ways, but in here, it's almost saying, a strong corporation. You may as well have said that, which they shouldn't be. What exactly is the settlement? The Diocese of Rockville Center will pay $320.5 million to the victims of alleged sexual abuse by priests in its parishes. That settlement amount is subject to increase based on claims covered by the Arrowwood Insurance Company, which is going through liquidation and did not participate in the settlement. Oh, okay. The bankruptcy includes all of the diocese parishes. The diocese previously made clear that they would never agree to a settlement that does not include this condition, which protects the parishes and their insurers from the threat of future lawsuits. Okay, so the settlement could go up, but they can't be sued anymore. It makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I'm very curious to see where this 320.5 goes. Because you're talking a ton of victims. Of course, the lawyers get a ton. There's court fees. There's all sorts of shit. But, it's still a good thing. There's no way the Catholic Church isn't feeling that. 320 mil. That's a ton of money, man. This is a first in any bankruptcy arising from claims against the Catholic Church and will stop a number of jury trials. Okay. More than 20 lawsuits were submitted on behalf of more than 600 victims, all alleging that priests had sexually abused them. There is a part of me that regrets not getting involved in this, but I really wasn't, because, the Catholic Church should pay me. I'm half kidding, or like 3/4 kidding. I'm very fortunate. I was not abused. But I've told the story in here before that I was cornered by a priest. I was 14. When I grew up in a very strict Catholic household. I grew up with my grandmother. I lived with her from birth till I was 12. And we were the house, the house on every block in the 70s and 80s, right? Had that statue of the Virgin Mary on its front lawn. We were that house on our block. We said the rosary almost every night. Very strict Catholic household. And priests were they were a normal part of our lives. Like, my family hung out with priests. I have an uncle that was a priest, one of my mother's brothers, who was a priest. He was a priest for maybe 10, 15 years of his life. He eventually did get out of he resigned from the priesthood, but he was a priest. We had, priests hung out at our house, and my grandfather, I believe, in Holy Family Church in Hicksville, my grandfather helped build that church, and my family was a major part of that church growing up. So, so when this priest, Father Peter, he was known as Father Peter. His last name was like Duveldorf, something like that. I forget now. He cornered me one day at the school at church. He asked me to come to the church. He asked me to meet him there one day because I draw. I can draw well, and especially when I was a kid. That was all I would do. I would get in trouble in class because I would just sit there doodling instead of doing my schoolwork. How Father Peter knew that I don't recall, but he asked me to draw him some pictures. I don't remember what they were for. So he told me what he wanted, and then he said, please come by the church and when you have these drawings ready, and we'll go over it. Or maybe he asked me to, that's what it was. He said he wanted some drawings made. So he asked me to come see him one day after school to discuss what he wanted. That's what it was. So I went to the school. The church had its own school. So I went there one day. It was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The place had just cleared out. School was out. So I'm there with him, and it's just me and him, and we're talking. He's telling me what he wants. And as we're finishing the conversation, he started walking towards me, and I got, he started getting really close, so I started backing up a little bit. It was really awkward. I mean, he literally cornered me. I went into a corner, and he then kind of leaned in and tilted like he was coming in to kiss me. And I pushed him. I physically pushed him, and I ran. And as I'm running, I remember him yelling to me, don't forget to come back next week with some of those drawings. And I just kept running. I don't recall. I don't think I responded to him, and I just ran home. And I told my mother, and that was it. He didn't really do anything. Plus, at that time, priests could do no wrong back then, these guys were, always held in such a higher regard. The Pope, for crying out loud, is, he's treated almost Christ-like, and he's just a man. Anyway, so we never did anything about it. And back then, lots of people were getting abused, and they were the same as me. They were thinking, you don't go against a priest. You don't say anything negative about priests, so, which is why they got away with it for such a long time. And I'll tell you, even for me, he didn't touch me. But physically pushing a priest away, I mean, that alone, that messed with my mind for a while. How dare you do that to a priest? You can't do that to a priest. But yeah, what I went through is nothing compared to these victims, and they deserve every penny. And then years later, so like I said, I was 14, so it had to be 13, 14 years later. I'm working at the phone company. I'm in my late 20s, early 30s. I'm working at the phone company, and we got dispatched out to go do our jobs, and and we would stop. We would all stop on the way out because we had to report to work at like 6:30 in the morning, so you're barely awake, let alone hungry. So you're dispatched out. You get your equipment. You get what you need, and you go out. And you get an hour break a day, right? So we used to break it up: 15 minutes in the morning, get a quick roll, hit a deli real quick, get something to eat, half-hour lunch, then 15 minutes later in the afternoon. So we would stop at a deli, get something quick to eat. I remember sitting in my truck, eating a roll, and my partner, I was at the driver's seat, my partner is in the passenger seat, and I'm turning the pages. This is the, back in the day of newspapers. There's a full-page article with a big picture of Father Peter. And it's this is when the whole scandal first was starting to brew, starting to come to light. This man was the Diocese of Rockville Center. This man was touching kids going back to the 60s. And every time a complaint would come through, the church would just move him to a different town. This went on for like 20-something years. And they kept moving this guy around every single time. And that's why they moved him around all the time, because more and more complaints were coming in. And they figured, all right, this guy's going to get, somebody's going to speak up. So let's move him before they speak up. They moved him so much that they actually ran out of places to send him on Long Island because he was getting in so much trouble. So they sent him down to Florida. But I guess they figured, all right, nobody knows him down there. Well, guess what? In the, I think, early to mid-'90s, he was arrested in Florida because he was in a park watching children and jerking off. Right there in the park. Yep. So that's why this story means so much to me. Oh, and my partner, I got the paper with the full-page article, big picture of him. So my partner just happens to glance over and he goes, oh. He goes, that's Father Peter. I said, you know Father Peter? My partner at work, great guy, Kevin Kennedy. Funny son of a bitch. He's I think he was like maybe 12 years older than me, somewhere around there. And he said, "Oh yeah," he goes, "I knew Father Peter." Kevin grew up in town in Long Beach, and he went to a Catholic school as a kid. And sure enough, he goes, "Oh, I know Father Peter." He goes, "All of us kids, we were scared of him." He said, "Whenever we went to gym, you remember in gym you'd have to go to the locker room and change, into the gym shorts." He said Father Peter would stand there and watch the boys undress. He goes, "We all knew that this guy was getting off on it." So I was like, "Son of a bitch, what are the chances?" So, yeah. And I remember even saying to Kevin, if I ever bumped into that guy, I don't care how old he was. I don't give a shit if he was, in his 80s. I think I would have smacked him. I don't care what shape he was in, how his health was, his age. He deserved it. He deserved to be smacked around. He messed up a lot of people. He is dead now. I believe early 2000s, I believe he died. I would, after that Newsday article, every once in a while I would Google him. So he's been dead for a while. But, there's a special place for him and people like him. So, so let's see, where was I? Victims' attorneys criticized the bankruptcy claim as a delay tactic, saying it could limit survivors' ability to unearth names of accused priests and exposed leaders who engaged in cover-ups. And because the bankruptcy court would set a claims bar date, that would have been the deadline for sexual abuse survivors to file a claim in bankruptcy court or risk losing their legal rights. Yeah, again, let's not help our victims, which is what the church is supposed to do, help people and look out for them. Let's just cover up so we don't have to spend money on you. Then in March 2023, the official committee of unsecured creditors, a committee of survivors appointed by the bankruptcy court to represent the interests of all survivors, filed a motion to dismiss the bankruptcy claim, and its parishes were unwilling to, claiming the diocese and its parishes were unwilling to propose a reasonable amount to resolve it. Furthermore, the diocese made it clear they would never agree to a settlement that did not include its parishes. Then the court rejected the committee's claim to dismiss this. So let's see. Earlier this year, the diocese announced a plan for emerging from bankruptcy, but in this past April, they announced its proposed plan had been rejected by 85% of the survivors, which it admitted was an overwhelming number of rejections. The Catholic Church offered a $200 million settlement, which was rejected. And then today they went up to 320.5, and it was agreed on. This proposed. It's a global settlement with hundreds of sex abuse survivors who allege they were abused as children at the parishes, churches, and schools. The lawsuits had only been made possible by the Child Victims Act, which the Diocese of Rockville Center had previously attempted to overturn. Right. So they employed these priests. They covered it up, and they, how many lawyers they must have had to employ to cover things up and try to overturn acts that would protect children. All right, so it's the settlement, and I'm glad it's over, and good thing for those victims, but it still burns my ass with the Catholic Church, which is why I, my 30s, when this stuff really came to light, that's when I was like, I think I'm not going to the Catholic Church anymore. Sons of bitches. That's amazing to me. All the money. Yeah, no wonder you're bankrupt. You know how much money they must have spent on lawyers? It's a lot of freaking money, man. Lawyers are crazy money. I was sued once. And I also sued somebody once. There is no justice. It really who has the most money to spend? I sued somebody and I spent almost $30,000 in legal fees, and it would have been a hell of a lot more if we didn't settle. And the settlement sucked. My lawyer got more money than I did, and then I was sued by a former business partner. And that too, I spent, I think it was around $15,000 in legal fees on that one, and I only settled because I settled with this person for $10,000. I had to pay this person $10,000, and by no means did I claim any guilt in any wrongdoing. It was just because it would just make everything go away. It would just stop. Because the claim my innocence, I probably would have spent another $15,000 or more to just, so I figured, all right, well, this is the lesser of the two evils. I'll spend $10,000 and that'll be the end of it. And yeah, and I made sure that, that in the lawsuit that I didn't have to admit any wrongdoing because I did nothing wrong. It was just it was a partner who I didn't see eye to eye with anymore. And I was fine with that. And I was hoping we can end on friendly terms, but this person was trying to claim the murder mystery scripts that I wrote. So, yeah, so not only did I settle, but I had to give this person rights to use the scripts. Which sucked, but it didn't last long because that person sucks and couldn't produce a show because I did all the work. And I'm still going and I'm thriving, and that person isn't doing anything. And no, I'm not talking about Shevlin. This was actually my partnership with Shevlin was a result of that lawsuit because he came to me and said, hey, if you want a partner now, I'd love to do it with you. And he hated my partner, the partner I had. All right. Let's see. Let me go back and read some comments. When the church choir... Oh, okay, I read that. Saying expected Monday. What does that mean, Carol? What, you're getting bad weather? Like you're getting remnants of the hurricane? The diocese apartment wasn't the only thing he expanded. Well, yeah, when he was looking at the church playground. That was all more from Friender. Stories like this make me glad I'm Jewish. He's laughing at the word Arrowwood. All right, all these comments are from there. You're saying there's no way the Catholic Church isn't feeling that? I disagree. Really? You don't think $320 million is making a dent? Really? Father, first name Peter, last name File. Yeah, right. That's funny. That's a funny last name for a priest. Does he live in Hogwarts? That makes sense. Rob Halford and Judas Priest's favorite band is Kiss. Father Peter, otherwise known as the Diaper Sniper. The Diaper Sniper. I've never heard that before. That's a good one. Carol, delivery for package, you goof. Oh. I'm an idiot. Oh, really? It says it's going to... They told you it'll be delivered Monday? Oh, my goodness. All right, so I'm in here Monday morning. I'm back in here Monday night. Steve Squared will be here. I think, pretty sure the return of Let Them Cook, a superhero podcast, I believe that returns this Monday. I'll have to ask Sonny Boy. That's my son, Zach Walker, and his co-host, James Merchant. James Merchant is now a part of the Knockem Dead Comedy Cast, and he does a super, super job. You can see him tonight at the Brokerage in Belmore. Come see him tonight at the Brokerage in Belmore. It's going to be a lot of fun. So after my show on Monday, when I come in here on Tuesday, and I'm looking like this, you'll know why. Oh, I get to bring one I get to watch Diane eat the chocolate. Sorry, just creeping out for a second. Fremder, how much... All right, I'll read it. How much pussy does a priest get? The answer is none. Get it? None. Yeah. Carol, better make sure someone can bring it in so it doesn't melt. Yeah, I don't think it's really that hot, though, anymore. But I'll... Oh, that's right. I have treading water on Monday. Yeah, all right. I'll have to see if Zach's home Monday. Yeah, 'cause he's been doing film work, and he has a part-time job to subsidize it. But where he works, the part-time job, they're closed Mondays, so he might be home. Maybe if it comes early enough, I'll tell him to come in here and deliver it. Oh, that would be amazing, huh? Okay. All right, so that's a church story. Oh, here's a story I've been wanting to talk about. What's this? Whoa, hey. What's this person's name? Because I want to find a picture. All right. Have you guys heard about this woman named Annie Knight? Annie Knight. Let me see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is her. Hang on. I want to get a better quality picture of her. All right, I'll go with this one. So there's this woman named Annie Knight. She's Australian. Okay. Now, you guys who are watching, just calm down. Okay. This is Annie Knight. Annie Knight is Australian. She is known in Australia as the most sexually active woman. She is on a bid to sleep with 600 people in 2024. She had a goal in 2023 to sleep with 365 people, so that's one person a day. It doesn't say if she achieved it or not. In 2024, she decided to level up and sleep with 600 people throughout the year. Last year, everyone started talking about me because I was talking about my sexual escapades online, and I mentioned how many people I'd slept with, and it went viral, and everyone was talking about it. And I thought, why not make a bit of fun out of this and make it a challenge? Because one person a day isn't enough of a challenge. Annie Knight, who publishes content on an adult subscription platform, revealed in a September 5th interview that she had just over 400 people, saying she was trying to use dating apps and meet people organically in real life. So she slept with over 400 people this year, and she's trying to get at least 200 more before the year's up. And she's using dating apps. You think someone like her would have to use a dating app? Like, look at her. She's beautiful. You would think she would just have to, like, post something on Facebook. Who wants to sleep with me? And then, who wants to sleep with me? All right, well. But in a bid to hit her goal, she started taking applications from her followers where people can apply to sleep with her. She was hit with an influx of applications, saying she didn't know why she hadn't done that sooner. The person had to be okay with being filmed, but they had the option to have their face blurred. Had to say if they've been tested for sexually transmitted diseases, and had to send images of themselves. She said she is really picky, and while sometimes she lowers the bar, there is definitely a certain standard that potential partners have to meet in the looks department. Her goal to hit 600 people in a year means she would need to sleep with 1.6 people a day. I mean, well, where you get the 0.6 from? May as well just say 2 people a day, which would bring her to over 700. But she did reveal there are days where she simply isn't bothered. You can't cut people in half. Some days I might sleep with 5 people. The next few days I might not sleep with anyone. And some days I might sleep with 5 people. 5 people? Like 5 people in a day? I would think she's got to be walking funny. And in pain. Or unless they're like me, like she probably doesn't feel anything. I do get tired. It is exhausting, and I need to have a break. Yeah, no shit. I don't always feel like having sex, and I don't want to force myself to if I'm not in the mood. She revealed that the highest number of people she slept in a day was 16. How do you do that? Well, I guess, you only need 30 seconds. So what's 30 seconds for 16 guys? I mean, you could be done for the day in an hour. Right? 16 times 30. 18. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you could be done in less than an hour. Oh my goodness. 16 people. Knight, who revealed she is likely to make $3 million. She's likely to make between $3 million and $4 million this fiscal year, said marketing was important as not everyone was going to make it in the industry. I guess she's a porn star? I don't know. But it doesn't always go according to plan. She said the world is her oyster, but she has people shout gross things at her in the street, which makes her feel uncomfortable. Well, what do you expect? Knight said she wasn't a sex toy and that people need to treat her like a human being. A human being that just happens to sleep with 16 people a day. But she's not a sex toy. It's not the only time the former marketing executive has spoken about the downside of her chosen career with Australia's most sexually active woman. She said last year, people love to tell me to get a real job, even though I'll likely pay $1 million in taxes this financial year. Now, I know you like, who knows what Fremder is doing right now, and whoever else, looking at this picture and thinking about being one of the 600. And, of course, I could sit here and make all sorts of jokes, and, I've kept this picture up long enough. But come on, let's be serious. All right, so you're making millions, but when people tell you to get a real job, maybe, because, banging, maybe it's not always about the money is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth with as far as what's morally correct. It just seems like more and more you're hearing these days, like, the porn industry is in the trafficking business, and all this stuff with Diddy that's going on. I admit it's affected my view towards porn. And it's a shame. It's a shame that any of that kind of thing happens. And I don't know. I mean, she's gorgeous. And if I saw her in a porn, I definitely wouldn't turn it off. But yeah, I don't know. There might, yeah. I mean, and then there's other things to think about too. If you have kids or something, your family. And like she said, she's complaining that people say stuff to her on the street. Okay, well, but you chose this profession. Nobody offered you millions to sleep with 600 people. You chose that way to make your money. What's your price? What's your price? What would be your price to sleep with one person a day for a year straight? What would be your price? Do you have a price? I think I'd be paying out. I'd be paying millions to get one person a day to sleep with me. But yeah, I'm curious. What's your price? Another comment she gets is your mom and dad must be proud, which is the one I always laugh at because yes, they are. My mom messages me daily, telling me how proud she is for living my life authentically and not caring what anyone thinks. Yeah, I'm sure. Mom is just, oh, look at her. Look at her taking 16 dicks in a day. That's my girl. I'm so proud. And my dad supports me no matter what. Well, yeah, and I'm sure that's what Dad says. I love my daughter. I'll support her no matter what. Like I would say about my kids. Doesn't mean I'm happy about it. I don't even want to think about my own daughter doing something like that. Oh, God almighty. The 27-year-old woman's family are supportive of Knight's raunchy profession, which involves selling explicit images and videos of herself to subscribers. It hasn't always been smooth sailing. Knight's X-rated career was outed to her dad, who until that point had only known his daughter worked in social media. Right. So that's how much he supports you, honey, that you couldn't even tell him what you do. It was pretty awful to receive a panicked call from my dad saying a reporter just showed up at my door and is saying my daughter is a sex maniac. Yep. See? And that's how your father found out. Can you put a price tag on that? My heart sank, not because I was ashamed, but because my dad is so innocent and kind and he loves me so much. He would have been so confused and shocked by that. I am not sure exactly what was said to my dad, but the fact he paraphrased sex maniac makes me think it wasn't anything pleasant. It made me feel like I was being slut-shamed, but thankfully I had a conversation with Dad and explained what OnlyFans was, and he was okay with it. He's very supportive. Right, Annie Knight. Sure he is. So there you go. That's Annie Knight. If you have money, head on over to Australia and bang Annie Knight. So okay, so that's that. That was a crazy story that I couldn't believe. And I have another crazy story too. That this one kind of blew me away. And oh, you know what? Let me read comments before I move on to the next story. Let's see. I'll send you. Oh, okay. Thank you, Carol. It happens in temples, too. We had a rabbi accused of inappropriate behavior as well. Just so sad for the victims. Oh, is that right? I hadn't heard anything about it happening in temples, too. Yeah, it is. It's terrible. There must be. I'll have to ask my wife. She knows the Bible a lot better than I do. I mean, is there something in the Old Testament that says, priests can't marry? Like they have to be celibate? Personally, I think that's one of the answers to fix this problem. That, clergymen should be allowed. I thought rabbis were allowed to marry, Carol. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's the other thing with this. Like, if I heard a priest or a rabbi was caught in a titty bar, using, spending money he made from the church on women, not the greatest thing. It's definitely an embarrassment, and it's wrong to use the church's money for anything else other than the church. But at least I would be saying to myself, well, he's a guy, and he likes women, and he has urges with women. And just like this Annie Knight, she is putting herself out there. She's not being forced. She's not being trafficked. Same thing with a dancer at a club. This priest just wanted to see titties and maybe get something. But but he's doing it with an adult woman. Like, why are these guys going after little boys? Like, is that all they have access to? Like, why aren't they? And I'm not saying they should go to titty bars. I'm not saying they should go, sexually abuse nuns. But I don't know why. Yeah, so nuns too. Why do they have to be celibate? I don't know. And is it time to revisit this? But if you do revisit it and change the rules, is that a sin? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Fremder, I asked a chick out the other day and said, "What works for you?" She replied, "Any night." Any night. Nice. That was good, Fremder. Fremder, I'm sure her story isn't the only thing that went viral. Yeah. There's no way this lady doesn't have AIDS. Oh, my goodness. Fremder, I always wanted to date a... Whoa, Fremder. Whoa. Not reading that one. Send this lady to P. Diddy's house. Too late. I need a little bit of meat on the bone. She's too skinny and she's got skittle tits. I've never heard that term before. So I'm hearing diaper sniper and skittle tits. Skittle tits? Are her tits, whoops, are they small? Hang on. I'm trying to get a better view. They're not like, they're not Dolly Parton, but, they're not awful. I would, if she wasn't, a porn star, if she wasn't a slut, I would, if she was just a normal girl, for lack of a better word, and if I wasn't married, I would chase it. Well, she's young too. She's 27. So no, I would not chase after her. But if I was closer to her age or if she was closer to mine, yeah, I would chase that. If I'm going to eat ribs, I'll go to Fireside. I had Fireside earlier this week. Man, they're good. Carol, rabbis are allowed to marry. He was married but caught in an undercover investigation. Goodness gracious. Some of us love a tit. Some of us love a tip. Okay. Wow. All right. Whoops. All right. You know what? Maybe I'll save this other. I have another crazy story, but maybe I'll save it for next week. What's going on this weekend? What's everybody doing? Big news in the comedy world. Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan announced that they're hitting the road for a 10-date tour in 2025. So that's fun. Oh, yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll end this. Oh, yeah, we got, what is it, starting Monday? Is this whole thing with the two moons? Have you guys heard about this? Earth will get a second moon for about 2 months this year when a small asteroid begins to orbit our planet. The asteroid was discovered in August and is set to become a mini moon revolving around Earth in a horseshoe shape from September 29th to November 25th. So it's like Star Wars. Right? Oh no, they had 2 suns, right? 2 suns. But yeah, so that's that. I'll share some pictures with you, and then I'll start saying goodbye with all the stuff going on at the club and stuff. So I got some pictures to show you that I thought were funny. Tried to get a plastic bag out of a tree by throwing my keys at it, and boom, that sucks. This definitely sucks, and I think this has happened to all of us when we're in a public toilet. You start to, you drop the toilet roll, and it just rolls right out of the thing, and you're sitting there with your pants down and doing the poopy. This next picture is a sign on a store, which I wish. You know what? Annie Knight, when she's working at Buc-ee's or 7-Eleven, she probably puts this sign up. Closed for sex. Be back in 30 minutes. Thank you. How awesome is that? I would love to have the opportunity to put a sign like that up. Nice and honest. And, yeah, that's cool that some girl who showed up there was willing to do it in the store. Assuming they're in the store. Maybe they left. Either way. And this last one is fitting based on what we were just talking about. Communist Church. I thought that was hilarious. Obviously it says Community Christ Church or something like that, but Communist Church. Is that? I thought that was hilarious. So, so there you go. All right. Her dollars are definitely not a parton. Oh, her dollies. Her dollies are definitely not a parton. 2 moons are what happens when you astronut. It's a good thing the other day I had my keys because I locked my coat hanger in the car. With that, we're going to say goodbye. Thanks for sticking with us today. Next week, We have Diane on Tuesday. So this coming Wednesday, we don't have a show, but I do have set up in the queue to show you guys Wednesday an old show that Sally and I did. When we have musical guests in here, the name Richie Kanata comes up quite a bit. Richie Kanata, a saxophone player, best known for his work with Billy Joel. New York State of Mind, that's him on the saxophone. Only the Good Die Young. So many Billy Joel hits. You May Be Right. It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. So many great Billy Joel songs. It's Richie Kanata on the sax. Tremendous sax player. He also worked with the Beach Boys and a number of other. He worked with Jackie the Joke Man on some of his music. So Richie has a studio in Glen Cove. And a few years ago, he brought Sally and I in. He gave us a tour of the place, and we did an interview in the studio. I've talked about it several times. He has a piano in there that Ray Charles recorded some work on. So it's just a great place. And, we sat with Richie for a while and had a nice chat. It was a good time. Richie's had some health issues the past year or so he really hasn't been out and about. He's part of a band called the Lords of 52nd Street. It's him, Liberty DeVito, and Russell Javers. The three of them were core members of Billy Joel's band back in the day when Billy was still making albums and having his hits. 3/4 of Billy Joel's hits, these guys are on. So they go around, they're called the Lords of 52nd Street. They go around doing concerts, playing the songs that they were on from Billy Joel's catalog. They're great. It's a great band. But the band has carried on without Richie because he's been having some health issues. So I thought it'd be an interesting old show to play that day. So we're not here next week on Wednesday. I'm doing a game show upstate, so I'm doing some traveling that day. So I figured I'd show that show so you guys can check that out and enjoy that. Next Thursday, Frank will be here with a musical guest whose name I don't have with me right now. Sorry. But yeah, and then, and of course I'll always, be trying to line up some guests for next week as well. Coffee with the Dog on Monday. Today is Friday, so we have Donversations with Don Sill. Tonight, Don's guests are, where is it? There it is. Don's guests are the Down and Outs on Donversations tonight. The Down and Outs were here in the studio with me, what was it, like a month or two ago? Yeah, probably 2 or 3 months ago, actually. They were a lot of fun, so check them out tonight with Don Sill for Donversations. And if you like what you see, come on down October 5th. Gov's Comedy Club Podcast presents The Down and Outs. Claudia Sherman, Gretchen Kammer, featuring Nancy Parker, and I'll be hosting that one. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's next Saturday, October 5th. Don't forget, tonight, the big night. Come on down and have some laughs with Knockem Day Comedy at the Brokerage. Okay, I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. Some changes in the governor's schedule. They were supposed to have Jason Ledane. That show's been postponed to November. Irene Bremis, who did a show with Gov's Comedy Club Podcast with the Mike Bacchetti and Friends series. She did one of those a couple of months ago with us. She is headlining the club tonight here at the Governor's in Levittown. You can also see our old friend Eric Casson, tonight in the Giggle Room. So a lot of good stuff going on here at Governor's in Levittown. Like I said, Knockem Dead Comedy tonight at the Brokerage. Our friend Megan Hanley. It's been a year since she's been in this room with me, which is very bad. So I think I kind of missed the boat. I should have gotten her in here this week. I feel bad because I love Megan. She's so funny and just a nice person. But she's at McGuire's tonight and tomorrow. So go check her out. She's hilarious. Don't forget Knockem Dead Comedy tonight at the Brokerage. Tomorrow night at the Brokerage, another old friend, Frank Spadone. He's at the Brokerage tomorrow night. tomorrow night here at the club in Levittown, John Pizzi. That's going to be a great time. Don't forget, tonight, Knockem Dead Comedy is going to be at the brokerage. And next Saturday, October 5th, as we just mentioned, the Down and Outs, presented by Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. Gov's Comedy Club Podcast also presents Clash of the Boroughs, Staten Island and Astoria, Queens. Mike Pachetti and friends. Mike will be hosting. And we got some great comedians. Johnny McDonald, Sean Kearns. Sean Kearns, his mother, is celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Maureen. Maybe I'll try and get some of these guys in here in the next, definitely within the next month. But maybe I'll see if I can get the Down and Outs in here maybe next Friday. So happy birthday, Maureen, Sean Kearns' mom. Courtney Otero is also performing at this show. Andrew Farella, and of course headlining is New York funny man Greg Kritikos. And then don't forget Knockem Dead Comedy in December. We're going to be at McGuire's in Bohemia. But you can also see us tonight at the brokerage in Belmore. Go to govs.com to see all these wonderful shows, and check out their full schedule, make some reservations to see some hilarious comedy, and go to knockemdeadcomedy.com to see our full schedule, what we have going on, and information on how you can hire us for whatever it is you got. Personal, private occasion, corporate event, fundraiser. You got a restaurant. You want to just bring in people and have a party, make some money. Come laugh with us. You will not regret it. It's a great time, I promise. And don't forget, if you're in England in November, Elio Pace is doing a little tour in England where he is performing for the first time in, I think, 11 or 12 years. He'll be performing his own original material and covers other than Billy Joel. So if you'd like to familiarize yourself with Elio's music, go to eliopace.com. All of his albums are there and his releases and music. You can either download it, you can either buy physical copies, whatever you want to do. But it's all there, and it's great. His album of original material is called A Seat at My Table. I've played some tracks from it occasionally on here. I think it's wonderful. I just love it. So, and November 21st, mark that on your calendar. That Elio will be Zooming with us that day, November 21st. But you got time. And I already said this. Tonight, Don with the Down and Outs, tonight at 8 o'clock. All right. And again, that's today. Donversations, tonight at 8 o'clock. Then Monday morning, Coffee with the Dog at 9. We're on here at 11 a.m. as of right now. Yeah, I don't have a guest lined up, but I hope to for Monday. I'll let you know. So another thing with the new equipment being set up, Circling the Drain was able to go live last night. For whatever reason, we just have not been able to get their show live with our equipment. So I think they're going to start going live because they were recording their shows Wednesday nights. And then we were just showing it to you on Thursdays. I think next week they're going to try going live on Wednesday. And I'm going to try going live Monday afternoon with Treading Water. So Coffee with the Dog, 9 a.m. I'm here at 11 a.m. Treading Water, hopefully will be live at 1 p.m. If not, then we'll just show it at its regular time, 4:30. And then Steve Squared is back in the studio this Monday. It's been like a month since they've been here. And then I think Let Them Cook, a superhero podcast. I do believe they return Monday night, this Monday night. All right, I believe that's everything. Let me check the comments one last time. It's a good thing the other day I had my keys. Oh, I read that already. Ann, wishing everyone a great weekend. Always enjoy your company, Tony. See you on the next one. See you on the next one, Ann. Perfect segue for us as we head out. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you guys for always watching and supporting and being there. And, yeah, all that. For sharing the links, for all you social media pages that allow us to share the show on your pages. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys sharing, the comments, all of it. So, yeah, that's right. So I'm not going to do a guest on Monday. I'm going to just use you guys as a guinea pig for Zoom. I'm going to set Zoom up. I'll post the link. Anybody that wants to join in, stay as long or as short as you want. and I hope to make time to let everybody have a little bit of a say so they can talk about whatever they want to talk about. So we're going to do that, and hopefully it'll work, and hopefully it'll be fun. All right, so enjoy your weekend, and suck it. No, we'll see you guys later. Thanks.